we've touched on within this kind of module around developing key communication skills and presentation work. Another key element that you're going to need to be working on and developing is your team working skills, and obviously around working in groups. A team is a group of individuals with a defined goal that work together for a particular purpose. Individuals and teams need to be interdependent to get the job completed. So it's about working together, using your communication skills, using your kind of strengths within your team to get to that common goal or purpose. So at times, whether you're an on-campus or a distance learning student, you're probably going to have to do some group work. It might be that if you're a distance learning student, you're kind of doing some group tasks online through a portal, or if you're an on-campus element, you might be put into groups to actually complete a task or so forth. So it's really important that we focus on, what things we develop from working in groups, and the elements that are involved in developing good teamwork. So group work provides opportunities to develop a load of key really good skills. It improves your communication, your ability to negotiate and persuade. It's around working in cooperation. There might be some leadership involved, you might take responsibility, but also there may be some conflict management. All of these things are going to be really useful skills for then when you go out to get jobs in the workplace. Working in a group can be more complicated and difficult than working on your own. It has its merits and benefits, but obviously if you're having to deal with other people, definitely as obviously you are in a job scenario, personality clashes, trying to communicate and work together can sometimes be a little bit more difficult. So collaborative learning, it gives you the opportunity to discuss ideas and collaborate with others. And group work should involve the development of a shared identity and goal, so coming together to work to that identity or goal. So I've mentioned on kind of some of the skills and benefits of working in teams and groups. So I'm going to kind of go in a little bit more detail and add some meat to that around group work and teamwork. So the benefits, it can sharpen your critical and creative thinking, being able to bounce ideas off each other. It can help you become more versatile communicator, so you're actually practicing these key skills of listening and talking and speaking and email, whatever it is, a level of communication you're using within that group. It can enhance your knowledge of a range of areas. So, I have a set knowledge that I have in my brain and I'm able to remember and recall. If I are then teamed up with another few individuals, they may have different knowledge and different ideas, which when we discuss and speak to each other, I can learn from. So it basically is around fostering and supporting an active learning process. The other element, which links back to the communication element, is around developing your personal and interpersonal skills within that communication, group work, teamwork environment. So I touched on it already, but I'm going to repeat it again, but just to it's a really important point. Members' knowledge and perspective. So it's around enhancing your learning and developing further understanding, so sharing those ideas. Well, the other thing around working in groups and teams can be good at is keeping you motivated on target, because it's a lot harder when you've got relying on other people and you're part of a team to procrastinate or maybe be distracted. So you've got that shared responsibility, so it helps to keep your motivation levels up. Okay, so moving on from the benefits, it also looks at what kind of key skills do you need to kind of possess to benefit from working with others. So we've already touched on communication skills, but it's definitely around those good communication and interpersonal skills. It might be, especially if you're doing some online stuff and distance, is that you're developing computer and IT skills. You're basically working on your ability to work with others and produce and develop ideas. It involves the ability to or willingness to offer and receive constructive criticism. So you need to be able to take on board other people's comments and react and receive that feedback and deal with it. It's a bit around the ability to work with others to achieve key outcomes. So all these key skills are really important. But also it's around reflection, being able to reflect on your own behaviour in a group or in a particular situation, and then maybe being prepared to kind of take steps to change maybe inappropriate behaviour or ineffective behaviour. So it's around that reflective process of how we deal and work in teams. So there's kind of lots of research been done around teamwork and the development of teams and group work. So this is a kind of a really good model. It's an old one, but it's been around for years, but it's still very, very relevant. And there's lots of research being done and kind of from this kind of start point. So when a new group forms, it takes a while to learn to work together and learn how to get on with each other and learn about each other's skills. So Tuckman in 1965 developed the stages of group development, which is forming, storming, norming and performing. So having an understanding of when a new group of people come together will help you. So if you're clear about this process, maybe when your group's kind of struggling, you actually know you're at what stage of this group work or team development process. So the forming stage, so basic group members get to know each other, you break the ice and become familiar with each other's perspectives and ideas. So this forming stage is really important, those key listening skills. Storming, group members brainstorm, discuss, share, sometimes clash about what is the best way forward. They maybe discuss who should take on leadership roles and how particular jobs should be done. A really good practical example, I'm not sure if you've watched this programme, but it's on, in the US and in the UK, but The Apprentice, where obviously those groups of people, this storming stage is very apparent within those kind of initial meetings you see on that programme, of people discussing, sharing ideas, clashing, who's going to be in charge, who's going to be the project leader, and you often see this storming stage within that programme. Norming, okay, so groups settle into a pattern of activity, develop habits and routine that allow them to become efficient and speedier in the completion of those key tasks. And, it's around that settling period. So what you'll see on that programme as you progress through the weeks, that's probably more turbulent than a normal group of people because they're all trying to win. But as they progress through the weeks, they kind of get to know each other more, and the norming stage becomes more apparent, and they develop habits and understand each other's personalities. There's still clashes that go on, and that still happens in the workplace, and still happens within groups. You might get to a good point in a work scenario, but then someone new might come in, and then again it's around adapting to that new person's personality, where they fit in your team. And then the final stage is performing. Groups sharpen and develop their team working skills in the interest of achieving the group objectives and delivering their assignment or project effectively. So some clear stages that you will kind of go through when you're working in groups. So it's really important to keep this in mind and spend some time to actually get to know each other and to learn how to cooperate with each other. And that's really going to help and improve your teamwork and group work when you actually get put into these groups. So I've touched on being aware of the process of forming teams and groups. It's also really important to understand different people in different roles. There's lots of different theory around kind of teams and dynamics and roles within teams. And Belbin's is a really good one as a start point. So it's kind of considering basic people's personality, characteristics within the team, and how that affects productivity. It looks at the role in terms of behaviour and personality characteristics from one members of the group. So it's allowing us to actually get to see where we fit within that team. Is it a functional role? Is it a team role? And having an understanding of what we are. And there's various different methods to doing this, and Belbin's is one of them. And we're going to go through some of these kind of exercises to understand what personality trait we have, what characteristics we have within that team scenario within this session. So there'll be a couple of questionnaires and tasks for you to complete during and at the end of today's session. So Belbin's got some kind of a key 8 roles. You've got completers, creators, implementers and leaders. And there is other ways of breaking this down, but I'm going to focus on this model to start off with. You've got the completer and finisher and monitor evaluator, which is obviously that completer section. You've got the plant and resource investigator for the creators element. The leaders would be a coordinator or a shaper of the team. And then the implementers, you've got a team implementer or a team builder. So I'm going to go through these in a little bit more detail and discuss how they fit. So very action focused, shapers. Shapers are energetic and sometimes challenging, but bring momentum and action to the group to help to get things done and keep people on task and focused. A completer finisher is reliable, good at detail to make sure everything's complete and very comprehensive. Implementer are people who may be less likely to come up with ideas themselves, but very good at finding a practical way of making other people's ideas work. Thinking focus, you've got the plant. They're basically great at coming up with ideas or creative solutions to difficult problems. They're very, very much less focused on details, and more motivated when thinking about the challenge or the problems that the group is faced. You've got specialist. A specialist brings expertise to a particular area to bear in mind or kind of help the group. you've got the monitor and evaluator. So basically they monitor and evaluate and see the bigger picture. They're accurate in their ability to see how the group is progressing and working and what things might need to be done to change and improve things. And then you've got the kind of people-focused area, you've got the coordinator. So the coordinator keeps the group together, helps the individual to focus on their contribution to the group while also helping to keep activities linked. Team worker is caring and considerate, and they're the person who keeps everyone working well together. They're good at teamwork, they're good at building morale, making group members feel good about themselves and their contributions. And then finally, you've got the resource investigators. The resource investigator is good at spotting opportunities for novelty, innovation, always great at networking and bringing in new ideas from outside the group. So you can see there's some key elements of teamwork and groups, and you might actually even now, for me going through these key points, actually think, oh, I'm actually a bit of a team worker, or I'm a bit of a coordinator, or I'm a bit of a plant. So you can maybe pick out some of the key traits that you actually think you assimilate and align to.